Welcome to the video of presentation of group electrostatic. We choose the topic of number 10, which is related to the nuclear power plant. Next.
Disadvantages. Let's continue with the pros of the energy. Nuclear power stations do not release carbon dioxide. It therefore does not contribute to global warming. They do not produce smoke particles to pollute the atmosphere or emit gases that contribute to acid rain. When a nuclear reaction happens, it releases millions times more energy compared to other traditional sources of energy, and it can happen with 1 gram of uranium, which yields about as much energy as a ton of coal of oil. 97% of the spent fuel can be recovered and recycled into new fuel elements to produce more energy. The main few points of advantages has been described, and so let's continue with these advantages. The waste from nuclear energy is extremely dangerous and it has to be carefully looked after for several thousand years. Nuclear power plants come with high construction costs due to complex radiation containment system and procedures. It is technically impossible to build a plant with 100% security. The consequences of an accident can absolutely affect on human being and the nature. The time frame needed for formalities, planning, and building of a nuclear power plant is in the range of 20 to 30 years in the Western democracies.
What is the possibility of building a nuclear power plant in Malaysia? What is benefit, feasibility, and restriction? Benefit for Malaysia is a powerful and efficiency. Energy produced are very large and more efficient than other current power sources in Malaysia. Second is a cheap electricity. Cost of uranium which is used in nuclear energy are quite cheap. And third is a low fuel cost. There are very little uranium that's needed to produce a very high amount of energy. And lastly is the supply and reliable. There are many supply of uranium in Malaysia. And then what is the restriction and feasibility? There are possibility to build a nuclear power in Malaysia due to a geometrical factor in Malaysia because there are a lot of mountain and river that is not suitable. Besides that, the chemical reactor of energy is dangerous and can harm a living thing. For example, the issue of dumping radioactive waste in Perak cause of case leukemia cancer that are higher than expected in Malaysia. With that on record, the government has a gain for this power plant in Malaysia. And most of nuclear power that built in Europe to the geometrical that has more ground level that is suitable for nuclear energy. And lastly is a certain peripheral that not available here like nuclear fuel and reactor. That means Malaysia need to depend to the other country to produce that reactor.
Next, we will discuss about thermodynamic equation of power plant. There are change entropy in a nuclear power plant, whereas S is equal to dq over dt, or change of S is equal to S2 or minus S1, where dq is equal to heat transfer in, T is equal to temperature in Kelvin, S is equal to entropy in. And lastly, so we can reduce that Q is equal to integrate of 1 to 2 T ds. Next, Carnot cycle efficiency. Carnot cycle efficiency is equal to network output over heat input, or equal to QA minus QR over QA.
In this topic, we are against the nuclear energy. The reason we against the nuclear energy is because nuclear energy have a serious environmental and public health impact such as dumping of radioactive waste. For example, in Bukit Merah, as affected by the radiation. Many cases such as leukemia, cancer, and miscarriage, lead poisoning were higher expected in Malaysia. In other country, accident happened in Chernobyl, Ukraine, killing 3 operators and firemen within 3 months. In Fukushima, Japan, accident happened due to the earthquake. All 3 cores of nuclear reactor are largely melt in first 3 days. Even though in Japan there is no death, but it is very dangerous to the people around the Fukushima. As a conclusion, the nuclear reactor are not suitable in Malaysia because it can easily explode and can harm a living thing.